Hello, hello. Okay, we're a little crooked. There you go. All right, so we just had Andrea Strang on, the founder of Kindersleep, our sleep consultant, and now we are excited to be joined by the wonderful ladies at Balancing from Birth to Baby who will be joining us. First, we're going to have Bronwyn Addico, who is a birth and postpartum doula. She is a registered birthing from within provider. She's a childbirth educator, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her areas of expertise and the work that they do, and unveiling our next amazing fundraising reward that we could not put together without their support. So we're just going to wait for Balancing from Birth to Baby to join us. We hope everybody is enjoying Day 4, second last day of Parent Shower Week. It's been such a fun week. We hope everybody has been enjoying it as much as we have, being able to put all of this on for everybody all week long. So we're gonna wait for Balancing from Birth to Baby to join us any second now. Again, we're gonna have our birth and postpartum doula join us first, Bronwyn, and then we're gonna have our registered nurse, Maggie Hilton, join us right after. So we're gonna have 2 speakers in this 1-hour session because these 2 ladies have created and brought together the company called Balancing from Birth to Baby. So we're just gonna wait for them to come on real quick and share their areas of expertise, because what they've seen, especially right now during COVID and what the protocols are, it's really important for anyone who's expecting to be able to know how to handle all of this, and also for anyone that you know who is expecting. Once we have this live on our IGTV, you can always share and forward this video to them so that they can watch it and get all that information. So we are gonna have Bronwyn join us very soon. In 3, 2, 1. Yes! Congratulations, you made it live. Thank you for joining us, Bronwyn.
Hi. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining Parent Shower Week.
Yay! How's it going? I'm so excited to be here.
It's going fantastic. Okay. Is there a background noise while I'm speaking? Do you hear that on your end?
Nope.
Nope? Okay. If everything sounds well for you, then everything is, it's gone. Okay. Yay, technology.
I just had my phone in a little phone holder, so hold on a second. I'm just gonna, no, that's not gonna work. I'll just hold it. We'll make it work. All right.
We're gonna make this work. It's all gonna come together.
Yeah, this is the week of making things work. I have children at home doing online school right now. Like,
it is.
Oh my gosh. My
it
heart
is
goes out to all the parents that have been doing online school since September, and all the teachers especially. Man, oh man. Yeah.
That it is a brand new skill that people are learning that they have to learn.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this is also the right week to shower parents, because you may need that little bit of time to learn something new from all the crazy that's happening at home.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, and just, I think my business partner who you'll be meeting today, Maggie's coming on after I am. She posted something on Facebook today about, like, everybody just remember to, like, bring your shoulders down, take a deep breath. Like, this isn't the worst thing.
Exactly. Just have a moment to recognize that everyone is alive and healthy, that you love.
Yeah.
And keep going. And to keep going.
What? If we miss a couple of classes because mommy has some business meetings, or she's on IG Live with you right now, that's just how it goes.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to reintroduce Bronwyn, who is also our resident Healing Mama doula on our panel of healthcare and wellness experts. So you will find Bronwyn's original write-up in the Healing Mama guide that you will get with every labor and postpartum system that we provide. You can also get it on its own now. We now have it as a product all on its own. So if you don't want a system, you just want this guide, which is what we call the encyclopedia to labor, delivery, and postpartum care.
Yay!
You can get it now on its own.
Yeah.
So, Bronwyn, there's a few things I want to touch on. The first is, can we just talk about COVID and what the protocols are for pregnant people and pregnant couples?
So I would say protocols are going to be different depending on the region or province or state that you're in. Currently where I operate, which is Kitchener-Waterloo, Southern Ontario, they are no longer allowing more than one support person to be with mama. So we've had to, I feel like pivot is a word that's been overused in 2020, but I'm using it now.
But do it.
So as a doula, which someone just posted on the feed, what is a doula? So maybe I should speak to that first. So as a doula, I'm kind of like the best way to sort of explain it, because it's really kind of general what I do, but it's very specific for each client. I'm like your tour guide to your birth safari.
I love that you call it a birth safari.
If you're going to go on safari, you're not just going to show up in the game park at your own. You're probably going to want to take a tour guide so that you can maybe avoid the lions and maybe see like the elephants and the monkeys. And so I hang out with you. I get to know what your preferences are. I get to know what your birth hopes are, or your postpartum hopes, because I support people just in the postpartum period as well. And then doing my best to help you just see those things on your journey. And if we do end up seeing the things you want to avoid, like the lions, then I'm going to make you as comfortable as though all we saw was the elephants and the monkeys. So that's what a doula does. And that can be very different for every client. Some clients, it's a lot more hands-on. Some clients, it's more emotional support. Or, I have some clients where like the partner really wants to be involved, but it's the first time they've ever been to a birth. So they don't know what that looks like. So I'm more doing direction for them so that then they can support the birthing person.
Perfect. So. And can we talk about okay, I'm just going to go right into it. If you don't have a midwife, get a doula. I mean, at like a bare minimum. That's just what I'm gonna put out there. So a midwife is covered by OHIP. Thank you for asking this question. A doula in the province of Ontario is not covered, but in some provinces it is covered. So we had a doula out in Vancouver, where doula services was actually included in some of the hospitals. So it depends on where you are that they have a doula service available for you. A doula service is really it's the person who's telling you exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to get through your birth. And
we're like your best friend for that time period who knows everything about birth.
Exactly.
And everything about postpartum.
Exactly.
And if we don't know it, we know where to find it, because the last thing I want to have is families going down to Dr. Google and then getting into like rabbit holes and getting, frustrated or scared.
The deep crevasse of nothing many times.
Exactly.
So let's not do that. So if you don't have a midwife, because some people may not have the budget to be able to hire a doula. So it's really being able to be mindful of what you want to include potentially in your parent shower registry, and looking at having maybe a doula service as a part of an ask, as a gift for your baby shower, not necessarily just an item or apparel. So we're going to get to all of the questions.
There's some great questions coming in.
Yes, lots of questions. Yes, it is covered in some hospitals in BC. So one thing to look at is check if your hospital has a service included in it. I can't say that every hospital has it or every province has it, but it's rare and far in between, but it does exist.
Yeah, I know that there's a hospital in somewhere, I believe in Scarborough, East Toronto area, East GTA, that does have a doula program that's run by volunteer doulas. So there's usually not a charge for that, as far as I know.
Right.
However, my clients do hire me privately. So yeah.
Exactly. So you can hire a doula in your local area.
Yeah.
Because doulas exist in so many different places that you may or may not know that are there. So that's where Google will come in handy. Where they will have, where Google will tell you if there is a doula service in your local area, because you want your doula to not be 45 or an hour away when labor is happening.
Yeah. Some good places to look for sort of how to find a doula. If
Yep.
people are in Ontario, the Association of Ontario Doulas is an excellent resource. And the majority of doulas in Ontario usually are with the association. And so they have a really great feature on their website where you can find a doula through that. It'll tell you if they're sliding scale. It'll tell you the other services that they offer. There's links to everybody's websites through that. So that's a really great source there. If you are outside of Ontario or in Ontario and just want to see other things, another really great resource to go to is the DONA website, Doulas of North America. I believe it's just dona.org, DONA.
Yes.
And all of the DONA doulas who've been certified through their program and have maintained their certification are listed on there as well. So really, both are really good resources to find something.
Great. We will list that in the caption of this IGTV so that you'll have that there available as well.
Yep.
So can we talk about where parents can start hiring a doula? How early, and then postpartum? What is that time frame? What does it look like?
Sure. So with the way that my business operates, and everyone runs a little bit, runs their own thing a little bit differently. Yep. Clients can hire us anytime that they're pregnant. I prefer people to hire us officially after their 12 weeks, once we get through that first trimester, once we know that everything's going well with the pregnancy, there's no concerns from the first trimester, then that's a really good time to definitely hire us. But we will interview people. I mean, I've even had clients who have done the pregnancy test and called us right after and said, I'm looking for a doula, and let's do it. So we'll do the consult. So most doulas will do a free consult where it's just basically like a job interview. We're getting to know you, you're getting to know us, and we're just seeing if we're a good fit. Yeah. And then depending on doula package that they offer and that you choose, most doulas will offer at least one. Our packages are at least two, if not more, prenatal appointments. And so with those prenatal appointments, we are spending time getting to know you. Mm-hmm. We're getting to know your birth preferences. We're going to try out lots of things that we would probably want to try out in labor to see if they work effectively for you. Right. We're going to talk about birth plans. If you end up having to make decisions in labor, what are things that are important to you? Stuff like that. And then we are on call for your labor duration. So typically most doulas will be on call when people are about 37, 38 weeks until they give birth. And so they're really reserving space for that client during that time period. Because with my business, I run a little bit of a doula team. We're on call anytime. So we take turns being on call. There's two people in a team. It's similar to how midwives kind of work call and clinic.
The rotation schedule.
Yeah, the rotating schedule. Somebody just asked about wait lists for doulas. Typically, you don't have wait lists like you do with midwifery clinics in Ontario. Midwifery clinics are really high in demand in our province. There's quite a few of them, but not enough for what the demand is. But usually I don't have wait lists. Our team takes about, depending on what month it is and what's sort of happening, anywhere between 3 to 6 clients a month. Right. Once we reach that point, then we just put a cap on it.
Got it. Okay. And so let's talk about postpartum. When can someone hire you for postpartum services?
So some people hire us for both birth and postpartum services. Some people hire us for just birth services, just postpartum. And in that case, it can be any time in that first year. Typically, the window in which people hire us is sometime in the first 3 months.
Okay, when they're brand new parent, brand new baby.
Yeah. Or sometimes they realize we're feeling really good with the birth. Like we've done our classes, we've read lots, we've watched our videos, we're feeling really solid there. And it's the postpartum period that we're really worried about. Yeah. Or we had a really big struggle with the postpartum the first time, and we're worried about the same struggle because now we're dealing with a toddler and a newborn.
Exactly.
So lots of people will hire us for postpartum only packages while they're still pregnant. And in that case, the contract with them, the hours and all of that would start once baby's born, of course. But we actually, in our package, we include a parent planning guide, just giving you an idea of what you know, what does that that early postpartum period look like? What does the first 3 months look like? How is sleep affected? How often are you breastfeeding? Like, what's the reality of this? And then it leads them through a series of different exercises to figure out what are the best ways to handle that new reality, and how can they best utilize our services with that.
Exactly. So on top of your doula services, you're also a childbirth educator.
Yes.
So there's many programs that you have, but I want to highlight the one that we collaborated on to create our amazing fundraising reward that would not have been possible without Maggie and Bronwyn together making it happen. So this is our first unveiling of this reward publicly, which is our Birthing from Within package, which Bronwyn and I are going to talk about that program specifically. And you will also get our Essential Labor and Postpartum System. So you will have this program to arm you prenatally, and then you will also go home with our labor and postpartum system so that you'll be going into birth
everything you need.
Totally ready.
Yeah, totally ready. Yeah.
Totally. And that reward is only found on our campaign page for that specific package. And all of the details for that will be also in the caption of this IGTV. So tell us about, you know, the difference between a traditional prenatal class and your Birthing from Within class.
For sure. So we offer a wide variety of classes. And Birthing from Within is our longest and our most in-depth class. So with this class, we would cover things that you would get in most other prenatal classes. You know, what are stages of labor? What do interventions look like? What is postpartum healing looking like? What is breastfeeding looking like? So those topics are all covered, but Birthing from Within goes a few extra steps. So a big component of Birthing from Within is mindfulness. And this is a part that I really love about Birthing from Within, because I think, you know, the more that I've worked as a doula, the more that I've worked as an instructor within Birthing from Within, the more I see the benefits of how mindfulness can really make a beautiful difference to this experience.
Yes.
You know, as a doula, I can help people with how they're doing physically, what I can see, but I can't help them with what's going on in their mind if they're really stuck in there in labor. So knowing some mindfulness techniques is a great tool to have to help you not get stuck and to really just let your labor flow in the direction that it needs to. So Birthing from Within, there are 5 different mindfulness techniques that we teach. Typically, I usually only have time to teach 3 of those to my own clients. So you really get even more than what some of my clients get when you take this class. So lots of really great mindfulness techniques, and we have really unique ways of teaching them so you can see how they'll be effective for you in labor.
Right.
So one of the things that we do, which I love, is we actually get people to hold ice cubes when we're teaching the mindfulness techniques.
Hold, like in your hand.
Hold ice. Yep, they're holding it for a minute because a minute is the length of a contraction.
Got it.
Right? And so like a contraction, when it's a physical feeling that we can't get away from, holding ice tightly in your hand is the same idea, because it makes your mind go to that same kind of place where maybe you're frustrated or you're, you know, resisting it. And so then that gives us an idea of what we need to work on and which mindfulness techniques would be best for you to overcome what's going on in your mind so that you can really just let your body take over.
Exactly. It's, I did not take your mindfulness course, but I definitely had an out-of-body experience when I was giving birth to our
I did in my first labor as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was very much a, you know, I trained myself previously, not even going into birth, but just in life in general, to have the ability to just turn my mind off, because the intelligence within this body is far deeper and far vast than whatever my mind can do or handle. So during my birth, I literally just told my mind to shut the F off so that my body, so I can hear what my body needs to do and just follow along. Because very, very real for me, it was, so I ended up having our son on a birthing stool in squat position.
Yep, I did the same with my daughter, my first birth.
Looking at my bed. I just looked at my bed, and in my head, it's like, go lie down. The bed is so comfortable. Well, my body is saying, just sit down, don't move, because this is where your baby's going to come out.
This is where you need to be.
This is exactly where I need to be. And every time I wanted to.
And in birth, your body is dry.
One more time, Bronwyn. Say it one more time. Sorry, we lost you for a quick second.
Did I get cut off? I'm sorry. So in birth, your body is driving the bus. It's the bus driver. Your brain needs to take a seat at the very back. Not with the cool kids.
Just get out of
Not with people throwing spitballs. At the very back. Shut it off. Let the body drive the bus.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So to put birthing from within in a very tight nutshell, and I can extrapolate more if you want. It's really teaching you a toolkit, not just one way to do that, because I don't believe that one solution fits all. Just like your systems. You don't have one solution for everybody. Everybody's going to have a different experience in this. Everybody's going to need different things for healing. So birthing from within, we give our clients, we give the people who take the class a toolkit of different things that they can use. And they're practicing with their partners. They're learning these techniques, and it helps them go into labor feeling confident. But then because they've done the practice with it as well, that we really stress and lead them through and teach them on, it becomes like a muscle memory. Mm-hmm. So something happens in labor and it kind of throws them off, and they're like, oh my God, some of those mindfulness techniques.
Yeah, triggers.
Yep.
Exactly. So either, and if your partner is your only support person in birth, then it helps that both of you take it together so that you can trigger each other. It's like, hey, let's try this, try that. This is what Bronwyn said. Plus, if you have Bronwyn as your doula, virtually on the phone while giving birth, she will also prompt you as well.
Absolutely. That's a big part of what I'm doing right now with during COVID is supporting people virtually. I've watched more babies be born this year over video chat than I ever thought would happen in my career.
The ways of COVID, you just make it work. You make it work in the best way that you can. So the Birthing from Within program, how long does it last, and what's the time commitment?
So it's a weekend program. It's from 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday and a Sunday. I will send you, it's virtual over Zoom. Yeah. So you'll get a link. You'll actually get a little list of things that we like you to gather together to be part of the class. Pretty easy, not huge stuff, some crayons, some drawing paper, your ice cubes. Leave those in the freezer. I'll tell you when you need to get them. Exactly. And so we just go through it. It's also the class, because it is so specialized. What's really nice about it is that we actually cap it. So we take 8 couples in the rest of our classes. Birthing from within, we will do 5. So it's a much more intimate experience as well. And so it gives me an opportunity to really get hands-on with couples and really make sure that the learning, especially those really hands-on tools, whether it is the mindfulness stuff or all of the natural pain management stuff I'm going to walk you through, you're feeling really confident in those before we end the weekend.
Exactly. Okay. And can you just share about partners? We talk about so much and the birthing person so much. Let's spend the last bit of time that we have and talk about birthing partner techniques. So not just birthing partner to support the birthing person, but techniques for themselves that they can do and employ during childbirth and postpartum.
So one of the first tips that I give, and I actually shared this with a dad yesterday over a Zoom call with him and his wife. They asked me to go over the stages of labor with them and interventions. And the dad's definitely got an ick factor. Like he admitted this, but he's also, he's feeling nervous about things. He does not handle the sight of blood and stuff like that very well. So the very first tip that I gave him, but I give this tip out regularly, was look at the people in the room.
Okay.
Everybody who's in the room sees birth every day. It's their job. So if they're just, if the nurse is taking notes or the midwife's writing things down, or, they just look like it's another day at the job, they've got a smile on their face or whatever, then everything's probably fine, even if you've never seen your partner in this position before.
Right.
So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is, if you're still feeling nervous after looking at them, check in.
Yes.
Is everything okay? Like, is there anything I could be doing differently right now? Is there something that you would suggest? Or even like, my partner's never made a noise like that before. Is that okay?
Exactly. Let it out. Don't
let it out. Because the big part of being, the partner is, they can provide that emotional support, they can provide that physical support, but there's that intrinsic piece for them where, when the mom is in labor, she's really pulling her energy from the partner. So if he's looking nervous, that's going to plant seeds for her to feel nervous and feel like something's wrong.
Yeah. Or if she feels that she needs to take care of the partner, like, oh, my partner's losing it and I'm the one giving birth. And no, we don't need to give the birthing person any more work than they need to do, because their body is demanding the most that it will ever demand from them.
So I would say for partners, if they do get to a point where they feel like they're losing it, just say, I got to run to the bathroom, or I'm feeling really tired. I'm going to go grab a coffee. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Whether you're doing that or not, doesn't matter. I would probably recommend that you do that anyways, because you do need to sustain yourself and make sure that you're physically okay, so you can keep supporting her.
We have all the goodies wrapped up in the
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. This is a must-have, that partner's toolkit. But the other thing I would say is, get on the phone with somebody and designate who that person is beforehand, whether it's your mom or your mother-in-law, but somebody who is going to not freak out, somebody who can be empathic to you, talk you down off the ledge so that you can go back in and then be on your best behavior for her.
Perfect. Yes. Call a friend. Who's going to be calm and be the voice of reason.
And empathic, and you can then say, you got this, you're a birth cheerleader, go and cheerlead. I'm giving you some pom-poms.
Have your backup cheerleader on speed dial. Step away, go to the washroom, just have a breath, recollect, and then let it out. Do not internalize. That is one thing that every partner needs to know in life in general, but most especially during childbirth. Do not internalize anything. Let it out, and then be open to the responses. Don't just think that this is what you want to hear. Also allow your mind to be open to the experience.
And I think also, we've talked about mindfulness for the birthing person, but I think it's really important that the partner is doing those mindfulness things, those mindfulness practices with her as well, because then that's building the muscle memory for them. So if they're starting to feel worried, they're starting to feel scared, they can go into that mindfulness where they can maybe reach into their intuition, they can tap into something deeper and feel like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, or I can handle this.
Or I can handle it.
Do this. Exactly.
Yeah,
I can,
exactly.
In my squat position, because the birth stool, there's no back. My back support that was holding me up was my husband. So he was also in squat position with no stool holding me back. And it's just genuine. I am giving it to him. And in my head, I'm like, oh man, I'm really heavy right now. I wonder how my husband's doing, because he's quiet. He's not letting anything out. Yeah. And then in between a contraction, I open my eyes and I see a chair. I'm like, oh babe, do you want to sit on the chair? And then after he tells me, his face was all red, and he just kept telling himself, you can hold her up. Her pain is worse than your pain. Your pain is worse. Her pain is worse than your pain. So just shut the F up and just take it.
Yep. And I think a lot of partners do that. I mean, I even do that at times at a birth. One of the home births that I attended this year, there was so much going on in the labor, and I after the baby was born, I got in my car and I was like, oh, I feel more exhausted than usual. And I realized I actually hadn't eaten in 12 hours.
Not Not healthy.
Not healthy. I typically
not
don't do
workable.
that, but it was one of those births where there was a lot going on, and that's just how it ended up going. But yeah, I think it's really important for partners to be able to, take a little bit of time every couple of hours to just have that bit of a break. But if they're feeling nervous, if they're feeling like they need some reassurance, having a plan, and including the birthing person in that plan.
Yes.
If they're included in that plan, then they know when the partner's leaving the birth room, that they're going to get that reassurance, and they're going to come back and be able to support them even better.
Exactly.
Instead of them feeling like, where is he going? I actually had a client a couple of years ago where the dad was very nervous about the labor, and they had hired me as a doula specifically because of how nervous he was. And he said to me, I will probably get up and go for a walk about every hour. And he did. He'd go for a walk around the hospital for about 20 minutes, come back, and then leave again.
Well, everybody was on the same page. Everyone knew what was happening.
Yeah. And his wife was fine with it because she knew that she was with me. I was fine with it because I knew that he had made it clear. And he was good because he got that time to be able to decompress and come back and handle things for a little while longer.
Amazing. And you were there. So, it helps to relieve the partner from their duties to have a doula there. I mean, COVID doesn't allow it in the same manner, but having you virtually is just as effective.
It has been. I never would have thought that it would be, but it really, truly has been. And we've had really great feedback from clients, but also from medical teams that were with clients of ours that we were supporting virtually. We actually give clients a little phone stand and a couple signs saying that they're being virtually supported by their doula, so that everybody in the room is aware. And sometimes clients just want to text with us and chat with us on the phone intermittently. But what I found to be the most effective is that clients get on a video call with us, and we stay on the video call until that baby's born. Or longer. And I'm listening to mama. I'm hearing the way she's sounding through those contractions. I'm giving her lots of feedback to help her relax and really coaching her on her breathing. And then in between, I'll have a chat with them about, okay, we've been doing this position for a while. Why don't we try this thing now? Or, Dad, maybe it's time for you to go down and grab a coffee, and just making sure that all those things I would remind them about in the birth room is still happening.
Exactly. So. Bronwyn, thank you so much for your time. We loved having you on. We're going to have to do this again because there's so much we can talk about, but
we could talk about birth for days.
I know, right? We appreciate you coming on with us for the first half. We're going to jump off with you so we can jump on with Maggie and talk all up to her about everything that she does.
Perfect.
Thank you again
so much,
for
Rowena.
Together for this reward, and we'll get you back soon.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Bye.
Have a great day, honey. Bye.
All right. So we are going to have Maggie join us, who is a registered nurse. Now, okay, this is the part that's going to be fun. Let me see if the person who's going to join us is going to be Maggie, or did I just invite Bronwyn again? It is Maggie! All right! Thank you for joining us. Here's my balloon for Parent Shower Week. Yay! Yay! So this was a great pivot. I was like, I didn't know who was going to come onto which account, but we're making it work.
Making it work.
COVID. All the way through COVID. So I want to highlight right now that Maggie Hilton is also Healing Mama's resident registered nurse who sits on our panel of healthcare and wellness experts. And so you will also be getting her original write-up in our Healing Mama guide that covers, we're literally calling our guide the encyclopedia to labor, delivery, and postpartum care. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're calling. So, Maggie, tell us from your perspective, because you come from, you come from what I consider Western medicine, from, the traditional medical side of childbirth. And it's a different kind of perspective to the other services, the midwifery services, the doula services, and all the other wellness sides of it. So I want to talk about that side of it, and then bring it all together into how you even came up with balancing birth to baby, because it's so ingenious. But yes, so you start, Maggie, and tell us all about this.
So I'm a registered nurse, and I've been a labor and delivery nurse in our community in the Kitchener-Waterloo area since 2010. And I worked in postpartum nursing before that. So I am a nurse, so I do come from the Western medicine sort of medical side of things. But what's interesting is that as a labor and delivery nurse, when I was expecting both of my children, I actually chose midwifery care, which is, was, when I was having children, kind of against the grain, right? Like, why would you do that? But, I knew a lot about birth, being a labor and delivery nurse, and a lot about what was normal and what wasn't. And I felt like I fit the profile for a good midwifery client. And I never looked back. I was really happy. I love the doctors and nurses I work with. I have the utmost respect for them. They are amazing, skilled people, and as are the midwives. So I just thought it was a good fit for me. And that's sort of what spurred balancing from birth to baby. When I was expecting my second child, Bronwyn was the administrator at the midwifery clinic. And so we met, and she taught some of their birthing classes. I was also teaching birthing classes for public health at the time. And we got to kind of chatting, like, you teach classes, I teach classes. I wish we could tell people more about this. I wish we could tell people more about this. Exactly. And it kind of spawned this really unique spur-of-the-moment friendship. And, when my daughter was born, we started to talk more, and we realized, like, why do you have to choose either medicalized birth, like that really Western side of medicine and birth, versus, the more holistic side? Why can't there be a really nice balance of, and to make it equal? Because, what, as Bronwyn said, what fits one person doesn't fit every person. So why not share the wealth of information with people so that they can choose what works best for them?
Exactly. And so, are you comfortable to touch on what makes somebody a good candidate for midwifery? Because I know what it is as well, but I want you to tell us.
So, the Coles Notes version is that midwives care for women and their families who are expecting babies who are stable and healthy, predictable, and non-complicated. So you don't have a lot of background health issues going on. Your pregnancy has been very healthy and relatively normal. I feel like I'm not doing good justice to explaining it.
Exactly. It's like little to no risk in your pregnancy, then you qualify. That's basically how I took it as well when we were looking at our midwives, if we qualify. So it doesn't fit for everybody, and not everybody fits that criteria, but if you do, then it is definitely something to explore as a birthing option, to work with a midwifery clinic. Or you still have, your hospital setting and your family doctor, whoever it is that you choose to be your primary medical facilitator for your birth. So
and we're really fortunate in the classes we teach and the doula services that we teach that, we don't box ourselves into any one type of client. We have people take our classes who are in obstetrical care and who are very high risk. We have people who take our classes who are being cared for by their family doctor, and their family doctor will deliver their baby. We care for people who are delivering within midwifery care at home, at hospital. There is a birthing center in Kitchener associated with one of the midwifery clinics. We really feel that, what we share is applicable to everyone, and everyone has the right to know this information and to have this information. Which leads me to sort of my next point is, taking a prenatal education class is a really important step in preparing yourself for pregnancy and birth, and preparing your partner for pregnancy and birth, right?
100%, especially for my parents. The emphasis on being knowledgeable, aware, and conscious of what things may look like during childbirth and postpartum takes a lot of the blind spots away from that experience. So you're not going in with, this is what I thought it would be, versus these are all the ways that I know it can be. And there's still going to be blind spots. I mean, we can't get rid of all of them, but we can do our very best to get very close to 100%. We can get very close.
I worry about, the people who Google everything nowadays, because information is out there. We have, infinite, unlimited access to information. The problem is we don't always have the critical eye to know what's really good information and what's someone's opinion or someone's experience. And in birth, there are a lot of people who share their experiences, which are wonderful, and there's a lot of learning that can come from that. But one person's experience isn't everyone's experience. So I think it's important that when you're looking at birth information, that you're looking at credible sources.
Yes.
When we designed our education materials for all of our virtual prenatal classes, we really looked at, what do the Society of Gynecologists and Obstetricians of Canada say? What does public health say? What do most nursing guidelines say? And we really looked at that evidence base of information, but then we sort of put it in a bowl and mixed it with a really holistic lens. So we talk a lot not only about medical things in birth and obstacles so that you can prepare and have that knowledge base to draw on should something pop up in birth, but we also talk about what this is going to look like, what this is going to feel like, what it might sound like, really to give you that complete head-to-toe preparation for birth, for birthing person and their support person or support partner, so that they're really well prepared when things pop up to say, I did learn something about this, and I can draw on that knowledge that I had to make a really good informed decision right now for myself, and I don't feel panicked and scared because I don't understand what's happening.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna put this on the flip side. So it's very real. There are parents who don't do prenatal class, who may read a book or not read a book and then just go into childbirth. So I want to draw on your role as a nurse and how much you can actually count on your labor and delivery nurse that is there for your labor, because we've met some parents who are like, our nurse was an angel. We just put it all on her and she just handled all of it. So can we kind of talk about what that looks like? What does a labor and delivery nurse's role look like? And as the birthing people, what can you count on?
That's a big question to try to answer, because there's so many facets of maternity nursing. If we focus specifically on birth, there is a lot of education and support that goes into being a labor and delivery nurse when someone is in labor, to support the birthing person as well as their partner with information and education, as well as emotional support.
Right.
There's the physical support aspect. I have rubbed a lot of backs and squeezed a lot of hips. I've given people foot massages. I have combed people's hair. I sounded like a physical trainer at one time, like, you can do this, yes, more. Because she's like, just keep talking and be loud. I'm like,
you got it, exactly.
I have listened to the entire Bon Jovi discography in a labor room before and danced with a laboring mom. And then there's sort of like, like, if this works for you, I'm not a Bon Jovi fan, true story. But it's not my birth, right? It wasn't for me. And then there's the really important clinical aspects. So there's the physical examinations and the monitoring and making sure that everybody is healthy, well, and safe and protected, right? And a lot of consultation. So whether that's with physician or midwife, other nurses, just making sure that everybody is well taken care of and that everything happens in the safest and best way possible.
Perfect. Okay, so you are in very capable hands should you choose your birth to be in a hospital and you have your you have your obstetrics team there that will take care of you as well.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Yeah, exactly. And that marrying, the holistic approach to birth and the Western approach to birth is very possible, and that you have choice now in this day and age, in the arena of comfort and convenience. This is where we are now, and having everything at our fingertips. I'd love for you to just give us a breakdown of all of the offerings that someone can look at employing from you, and also just in general from any type of prenatal program that they can look for in their local area.
So what you want to look for when you're choosing a prenatal education program is something that suits your education needs. There are a lot of sort of small and condensed programs for people who have some background knowledge to draw on, or maybe have had a previous birth. I can say that we offer a class like that. That's called Birthing Again. So it's a lot shorter, and it's a lot of just quick review on like the really important things to hit and to remember and refresh. you want to look at something that meets your price point, what you're comfortable with financially, because most costs, the courses vary. There are some really great free online programs out there, but you don't get, when you take the free online programs, that personal touch and that interaction. And that's something I have to say, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'm really proud that Bronwyn and I were able to preserve in our classes when we had to move to virtual from in-person, really hands-on physical classes, is that we really keep our virtual prenatal classes as engaging and involved as possible. We got people standing, we're working on hip squeezes, we're working on positions for birth. There's a lot of questions and group discussions that happen. I walked away for a break one time during a prenatal class, and everyone had their microphone on, and I went to go get a drink of water and came back, and everyone was having a conversation about delayed cord clamping, which I thought was really fun. We've had groups of classes that have become really close-knit friends. They started their own little Facebook mama groups and become that village.
Exactly.
Especially
with COVID right now, and the importance of having a sounding board of people in the same type of phase. Like we're all given birth within a few weeks, few months of each other, so you're all going through it very much at the same time, and some maybe a little bit like a couple days, weeks ahead of you. You're like, wait, it didn't work for me. What happened? How are you doing this?
Yeah, it's like, what did you do? How did you survive? And we're really fortunate. We work very closely with one of the midwifery clinics, one of the many wonderful midwifery clinics in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, but particularly with Blue Heron Midwives, and we've collaborated on the New Baby Time program. So it used to be a program that Blue Heron Midwives ran in person for their clients only, but we were finding, because of COVID and people feeling very isolated and not wanting to go places with their baby, that women and families were really lacking in that community and that village aspect.
Right.
So now, as a part of taking any of our classes or being one of our doula clients, you have free access to that weekly New Baby Time program where we have people come in and do short little talks. Sometimes we will have naturopaths come in, breastfeeding buddies come, chiropractic care practitioners come, lactation services, lots of free little chats, but also just that village learning, right? And that lived experience and sharing.
Exactly. It's so deeply important. I mean, I've mentioned this before, that in the Western culture, so here in North America, the idea of a village is a different idea than it is in Latin America and in Asian countries, where the village is very real. You have both of your mothers there from both sides, like your in-law and your mother. You have your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, and everyone who's given birth. And it's not necessarily a party in your house, but you still have your alone space, but it's very much, they're doing the laundry, you're getting a meal, and they're bringing you. I didn't know this till I gave birth, but I had a whole box of fresh coconuts given to me, because in India, that's what you give postpartum moms, is fresh coconut water to drink first thing in the morning, even before you brush your teeth. So I had a fresh coconut every day for 3 weeks. It was incredible.
Amazing. I'm jealous.
Yeah, right? I didn't. Next, should you go down this path again, we'll send you a box of fresh coconuts.
But Rowena, it's so important, and to tag on to what you're talking about in the postpartum period, I think that in Western culture, we focus very much on birth and the act of birth and how important that is, and as a rite of passage, and rightfully so.
Yes.
However, in doing that, we forget that when we've brought a baby into the world, there is the rest of life, right?
That's still happening and has to go on.
And especially those first few weeks and few months of that rest of life, there are a lot of unique challenges and a lot of things that you could prepare yourself for and build a support network for. And we oftentimes forget that. And what we hear in the doula world from Bronwyn's clients is, I didn't realize, I didn't know I would have such a hard time sleeping. I didn't realize I would have such a hard time keeping my house clean. I didn't realize I would have such a hard time making food and thinking about eating. So we do a lot of work in our prenatal classes to talk about the postpartum period, not just what physical healing is like and what taking care of a baby is, but these are things that you can do to make that transition in those weeks that will be difficult a lot easier. We've pulled on our education resources, and we've also pulled on personal experience to say these are things that will help set you up for success.
Exactly. And it makes the transition a really, as smooth as possible. It's not going to be, nothing in new parenthood is easy. It just doesn't. But it can become simpler by having the appropriate measures in place. It sounds like a guidebook. Yes, to have the appropriate measures in place. And it just takes a bit of planning. And Bronwyn made a good point. Yes, and the act of showering postpartum, the amount of help you need to do that. Yes, showering, cleaning, just waddling to the washroom. Yeah, all of it. I mean, there is such a level of support that's needed, and it is a lot for if it's just the two of you. And we know that now during COVID that sometimes that's all you have is just you and your partner. And so it's finding some type of way to make it through a bubble of just the two of you. Yeah. So you can be armed by taking a class on how to prepare for postpartum, and being armed with kind of the areas that you may not know to pay attention to. So there's so much. There's so much to prepare. And in terms of baby, there's lots there too. I mean, the world is prepared in all the ways for baby to come here. It's now focusing on the parent and having the parents be the ones driving the bus. Yeah,
exactly.
Driving.
Having those in labor and in postpartum, having those tools to be able to draw on when you need them can really be a lifesaver. It's like having your own postpartum first aid kit.
Yes,
right? And having
exactly.
those things just ready when you need them in an emergency.
Yes, exactly. And not necessarily just going to Dr. Google, as you mentioned, to find the answers, because finding the right answers may not be the easiest thing to do
or finding the right answer for you might not be the easiest thing to do.
Exactly. And can you tell us, what have you found to be the biggest aha moment that you've seen with couples in your programs? I mean, there's probably tons, but one that shows up the most.
I think the one that shows up the most is when partners realize, I actually can help. There are things I can do. Like, truthfully, one of the first things we ask when couples join our classes, we get some information about them, like, when are you due? And do you know what the sex of your baby is? Do you want to share? But it's also, what's the one thing, if you could learn nothing but this one thing before you leave after this weekend or these couple of nights we're going to spend together? What's the one thing you want to learn? And the partners are like, I want to know how to help, because I don't know, like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know how to be helpful. I don't want to be unhelpful. So help me.
Don't want to be useless. Tell me how to be useful.
Yes. So I really feel that we do a really good job in our classes of giving not only the birthing person, but the partners a toolbox to draw on in birth and in postpartum. If that's not working, try this. If that's not working, try this. We're going to practice this. What do you think will work for you? And probably a dozen times I've had partners say at the end of class, I didn't realize that there was so much I could be doing during birth and in the postpartum. I thought I was just going to stand there and be like a spectator. I didn't realize how involved I could be. And they're very grateful to have that toolbox to draw on, because then they feel involved and contributing. And it's very rewarding as well, right? When you feel like you're being helpful.
Yeah. And I'm sure the person you care about the most go through the craziest pain they probably will ever go through, and being able to do something to support them.
Right, exactly. Just being able to really get in there and be hands-on and have your mind in it and your heart in it. I think that's just, it becomes a really incredible experience for that couple.
Exactly. And I can tell you, as a person who had an extremely useful partner, and I say it that way, he was extremely useful in so many ways, that impact is internalized. I will forever, whether I'm conscious of it or not, know that I can count on him in ways that I may not even realize now. Because it is on top of the bonding with baby, there is a deep bond that occurs between partners.
It really is.
Process also.
Mm-hmm.
And so, can we talk about, with the little bit of time that we have left, can we talk about if you don't have a partner? If you're going through birth on your own, what are the things that you can do? You can take a prenatal class. What else?
There's so many things you can do. Making sure that you have the right kind of support. We've had in our virtual prenatal classes as well as our private classes. So in addition to the group classes that we do online, we also do private sessions for multiple reasons. But in our group classes and privately, we've taught a lot of single mothers by choice. Mm-hmm. Again, who were comfortable in the group setting and some who weren't. So getting that prenatal education is extremely important so that you're prepared. The other thing I would highly recommend for a single parent or a single birthing person is hiring a doula. Then you have someone who can be your physical, mental, emotional support and guide. Not only for birth, but then in the postpartum period as well. Because as I said, postpartum can be tough and you're tired and there's so many new things happening and just so many challenges that having that resource of someone to even just text and say, hey, is this normal? Should I feel this way? Should my baby be acting this way?
Yes.
Should the sun be rising? Should the sky be blue? Like, do you know what I mean? Just having someone to bounce all those things off of, I think it just reaps the rewards tenfold. So those would be the things that I would most highly recommend, is taking a class either in a group or privately, and then hiring a doula for support.
Yes, and I mentioned this earlier. If you do have a baby registry, make sure that you create a parent shower registry as well. We just launched it this week in our Healing Mama home. So parents can now create a registry to go hand in hand with their baby registry, and potentially add in there a doula service. Have some of your guests come together and get you a doula service. I cannot tell you how important that would be. Or come together and get you a prenatal class. Like, these are the things that need to be a part of the whole showering that happens before baby arrives.
Very much so.
Perfect. And I also want to thank Maggie, while I have you here, for the reward that I have as my background, for helping us create this Birthing from Within package, which is your 2-day over a weekend program called Birthing from Within, and you will also get our Essential Labor and Postpartum System so that you will be 100% prepared for your childbirth. And there are exactly 5 rewards that are available for this package that you can only get during our fundraiser. So Maggie, we appreciate that you've rallied behind us to create this reward. We could not do this without you guys, for sure.
It's absolutely our pleasure, and I think this is such an exciting and important step for parents, to have a registry and be able to say, these are the tools and things that I would really benefit from, because I have 100 baby sleepers and baby blankets already. So we are so very grateful to be involved and be a part of the amazing work that you're doing, Rowena.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I didn't get a chance to ask this with Bronwyn because we were talking, there's so much we had to talk about. So I'm going to ask this with you while I have you on the phone with us.
Sure.
Of all the things that Healing Mama does, our systems, our bundles, our brand packs, all the stuff, do you have a top favorite that we do?
I do. Let me show you.
Oh, she has it with her.
Right here.
Yes.
Popsicle kit. I mean, we also have the old school. So this is like the OG version.
The first version, and she also has a new version. She's got both.
This is 2.0. But by far, one of my favorite recommendations to postpartum moms who are recovering from a vaginal delivery is padsicles. It kind of goes without saying, having something frozen and cold to put on very swollen, sore parts of your body. It's natural.
The needs love, so much love.
So this would have to be like my go-to recommendation. This is what I gift all of my friends who are having babies and say, you don't know that you need this, but you will need this. The instructions are in there, mix it up, put it in the freezer, you're good to go.
Yes.
And
you can get partner to do it because there's step-by-step guides. We've had tons of partners saying, I've never opened a pad before until I had to make my wife's padsicles. My instructions are for you too.
It's so true. It's so true. And so I tell parents, to make them up ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and pre-COVID, I would say bring the bag with you to the hospital, label your name on it, and put it in the freezer. Now, the less you have to bring to the hospital and take home, the better for infection control. But have them ready in the freezer for when you get home so you can just tuck one in, lay down, and recover.
Good to go. And side note, the totes that it comes with is a great lunch bag, or keeping the bottle in while you're out and about as well.
Yeah.
So, it's reuse.
Insulated.
Insulated bags, exactly. So, thank you. We appreciate this and having you on with us for Parent Shower Week. Tell us very quickly all the ways that people can get a hold of you and Bronwyn from Balancing from Birth to Baby.
So the easiest way to contact us is actually through our website, which is balancingbirthbaby.com. Through the website, you can view the full list of the classes and workshops that we offer, because we have many. Aside from Birthing from Within, which is one of the more wonderful programs that we offer, we have several other versions of our prenatal classes, as well as information about our doula services, as well as the products that we offer, like the Padsicle kit. So balancingbirthbaby.com. And through our website, you can actually fill out a contact form and email us. And we generally get back within an hour or so. We can get back to couples or individuals who have questions or needs. And then if we can't text it out, then we give you a call back.
And if all of those don't work for whatever reason, you can come over to the Healing Mama home, click on Meet Our Experts, look for Bronwyn and Maggie's beautiful images, and then you'll be directed to them as well. So many different ways to get a hold of you guys. Thank you so much for your time. We love and appreciate all the work that you do, and we're going to have you guys come on again in the near future, because there's so much to talk about.
So happy to. Thanks again, Rowena.
Thanks so much, Maggie. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye now.